Please give it up for Margot Leitman.
Thank you so much. So we're all familiar, I think, with the butterfly effect, right? I mean, what it means. Not the horrible Ashton Kutcher movie. I don't know. Is it horrible? I've never seen it. It's one of those things. But, so the butterfly effect. A butterfly flaps its wings somewhere in China, and a tsunami happens in the Caribbean. And what it means is small things build and build and build and build and create a large, large result. And I am fairly certain I created a butterfly effect my sophomore year in college. So it was my sophomore year, and I went home to New Jersey from upstate New York for Thanksgiving break and was headed to a party where my friends and I were pulled over for underage possession of 76 cans of Busch beer, where we were arrested, and I also happened to be the one holding the weed. So I had a record, and I was supposed to go back to college at that time, and my parents kind of understood that what I could learn from this was not realistically that I would never touch weed or booze again. That's not going to happen. But what maybe could happen is I could learn good financial management and pay all of my legal and court fees by myself and get a second job in addition to my work study. So I go back to college, and I go and I apply at this bakery, which is this kind of historic landmark in my college town that's been there forever. And I go to apply because I worked in a bakery in high school, and I figured that I could get a job there. And also I had a secret weapon, which was that because I was on the lam, I would stay. I would stay through the summer, and when all of the college kids left, and I would continue to work because I had legal bills, which I didn't disclose why I would stay through the summer. I just said that I would. So I do this interview with this man, my boss named Michael, who was in his late 50s, had a comb-over. He was a very red-in-the-face man and always seemed very, very stressed, which was odd because he worked around baked goods, but he was on edge all the time. And he had the type of British accent of a person that had moved to the US maybe at age 5, so it was like mostly faded, but he sounded a little stern. So he would say things once I got hired, things like, Margot, I think I need you to replace the turnovers. You know, it was like always like, ooh. So I started working there. I said I would stay through the summer. Things are going well. He has a son and daughter-in-law that work there as well that are less stern and care less about the bakery. And things seem to be moving along. I'm paying my debt little by little. And the next thing I know, it's almost summer, and on a whim, because I was a theater major in college, I decided I'm going to audition for the summer stock equity theater. Maybe I could get a paid acting job. Let me just try. And I audition, and I get my very first role as a professional actor as the fairy in the Velveteen Rabbit, which is so exciting for me. I've always felt like deep down I'm a fairy, and they felt that too. It's the early aughts, so there's so much glitter in my eye makeup, and I think that helped. So I go and I get this job, and I realize that now I can't work at the bakery for the summer because now I have this paid acting job that's going to be a full-time acting job, and I'm going to be performing and rehearsing, and it's equity, and I have to do it. So I go to my boss, Michael, and I tell him, and I say, I'm so sorry. I know I said I would stay through the summer, but I actually can't. I'm going to be in a play, but I will happily come back in the fall. I'm sorry about that. And he turns even redder and angrier in the face than I've ever seen. And he goes, "You are a liar." And I'm like, what? And he goes, "You said you would stay. You said you would stay. That's the only reason I hired you. And I let other people go so you could stay, so you could be here all summer. You lied to me. How dare you?" And I said, "Well, I'll come back in the fall." He goes, "You will not come back in the fall because I will not have you back in the fall. You are done. I am so angry." And it was at the time, I have to just say, I was dating this serial cheater. And it was so flattering that some man gave a shit that I was leaving. Like, he cared so much. And I was like, at least I have this. But I also was like, this is kind of dramatic. I mean, like just like a 19-year-old kid quitting a bakery for somebody. Like, why does this matter so much to this man? And he was so mad. And I said, "Can I find you a replacement? Is there anything I can do?" He goes, "Fine, find me a replacement now." And he's so red. So I know this girl, Katie, that's looking for a summer job. So she goes in, she interviews, she gets hired on the spot because he's desperate. And I think, okay, the situation is resolved. I can go live my best life being a fairy. So I go, and I'm in my college apartment, and the phone rings at like 10:30 that night. It might have even been later than that. And I pick it up, and I hear, Margot, it's Michael from the bakery. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I am sorry. I'm sorry for the way I treated you today. I felt that the bakery couldn't survive without you, which is ridiculous, okay? Because it had been there for decades before I even set foot in that town. But he says this to me, and he goes, and I realized I was just angry, and we can survive without you, and thank you for sending me Katie. I got really angry. You're not a liar. You can have your job back in the fall if you want it. It will be here for you. And I think, okay, that's fine. And the whole thing is just so bizarre. And I say, okay, and then I say to him, I forgive you, Michael. We all have these moments. I don't know what happened today. Maybe I was your mother. I don't know what's going on in your head, but I forgive you, and it's okay, and let's just move on, and I'm over it. Let's just get over it and have a great summer, and I'll see you in the fall. And he says, okay, you forgive me. I go, I absolutely do. It's very, very intense. So I hang up the phone. I go on. I'm in rehearsals for The Fairy as the Velveteen Rabbit. Katie's working at the bakery. About a week later, I see Katie, and I say, well, how's it going at the bakery? And she goes, it's okay. It's been a little weird since what happened with Michael. I go, yeah, that guy's intense, right? And she's like, well, more than that. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, you got fired, and then he hired me the same day, and then I came in to train, but he wasn't there, so his son and daughter-in-law trained me. And then he wasn't there the second day I came in, and they thought that was a little odd, and nobody had heard from him. So his son went up to his house in the woods to find him, because he wasn't answering the phone, and found him dead on the floor. And I was like, dead? Oh, what do you mean? When did he die? And she goes, I think he died the day he hired me, the day you quit. It seems like he just had a heart attack and just dropped dead. And I was like, wow, something must have really stressed him out, wow. And she's like, yeah, it's been intense, but we'll get through it. And I said, oh, okay. I need you to know a few things. One, I didn't talk about this for 20 years. I buried it. I pushed it down. I went on as the fairy, and I was like, don't worry about it. You killed a man. It's fine. Just go on with your summer. Equity. You're going to be an actor. And the theme, when he told me the theme of this show, I was like, oh, I know what I'm telling. So I just repressed this and try to go on, because I think this is, what a last day of life this man had. And I am heavily featured in it, and I barely knew the guy. I mean, I'm like the co-star of his last 24 hours. Tell this girl with a police record from New Jersey to fuck off and then drop dead is basically what happened. But, thank God I said, I forgive you. Like, he died knowing that Margot from New Jersey forgave him for calling him a liar. So, I repressed it. I decide not to, hold him to that he would give me the job back in the fall, because I don't know, there's no witnesses to hear that he did take it back, and I just felt like it would be in poor taste if I went to the son and the daughter-in-law and was like, your dad said it. He called me that night, and then I know you're sorry for your loss, but I need to work. So I just got a job on campus, and but oh God, the story gets worse, because then I don't really need to go back there, because the bakery closes down soon after. It goes out of business. I think Michael was really the heart and soul of it, and it goes out of business soon after, and it's empty for a little while, and then something else takes it over, and it's called the Mate Factor, and it's like this mate latte, like those green drinks place, it's like a coffee substitute place, and it's all the people that work there. It's these women, and they have the long French braid down to the butt, and like the long prairie skirts and the long sleeves and that like apron blouse, You know what I mean, like big love, the principal, living that polygamy lifestyle type of outfit, okay? And I'm like, what is going on here? So I am a curious woman, and I go down a deep dive, and I discover that the people that own the Mate Factor are a member of a cult called the 12 Tribes Cult, and they come and infiltrate the college town, and they only came because there was a vacant business that they could take over, sorry. And they come to places where they can get fertile young women to take, that are impressionable, that they can get to join their cult. So they start recruiting women from my college to join them in their cult. They are still there to this day. I was just in my college town a week ago. They are still there. They are still in that building. And I feel like that's a butterfly effect. Because girl gets arrested in New Jersey with 76 cans of Busch beer, and 240 miles away, a cult infiltrates a college town, right? That is a butterfly effect. I did it. But, rest in peace, Michael, you were right about one thing, and that was that bakery could not survive without me. Thank you.